All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. Let's go ahead and start around the horn. Dow futures are up 146 points. Nasdaq futures up 134. Thank you, Netflix, for rising all tech stocks. Let me go ahead and give you all the details here. So again, if you are interested on any kind of the headlines, they're going to be at the bottom ticker. So make sure to take a look at that. Some pre-market movers and some headlines. Continue on. Nasdaq again up 133 points. Netflix did beat on the bottom line, not the top line, I believe, or I had it inverse there. They are raising prices for subscribers. They're preparing for that, and they beat on subscribers and they beat on guidance. That's why they are up this morning over 10%. S&P 500 futures up 0.5%, 49.19. Looks like 49.50 is on the way, possibly even 5,000. Really ahead of schedule, what I thought. Russell 2000 futures bouncing, 2014 up 1.27%. We talked about Russell yesterday, if you guys remember. We talked about that 1995 support. It sliced that yesterday, so we didn't get in or anything like that, but was something to watch. 10-year Treasury yields are down 4.094. We also have crude oil up nearly 1%. We have crude oil inventory later this morning, 75.05 a barrel. Gold futures 2035, that's up this morning. Silver futures 2301, that's up 2%. Copper futures up 2.35%. Freeport McMoran did also report their earnings. They're up this morning. Gasoline futures $2.24, up 0.49%. We also have in Forex land, euro dollar. Euro is up 68 pips. Finally, some movement. Dollar yen, that's down 163 pips. So the yen flexing its muscles, 134.32, down 28 pips for the dollar. Canadian dollar, pound dollar's up 74 pips, 127.65. Bitcoin bouncing near that 40,000 level, 22.24 for Ethereum. That's up 1.21%. Dollar index is down. We're going to chart that here in a second. 102.85 down 0.74%, while the VIX continues to slide 12.48 this morning. Let's go ahead and get to the big screen. Oops. Get this going. There we go. All right, let's go and start with the dollar team. And again, any questions, feel free to type it in the comments as we go along. All right, here is the dollar index. Again, we are down this morning. Again, we talked about this death cross. Now we're rejecting the 200-day again. We had about 3 days where we were above it, but now it's rejecting. Now we're below the 50. You have a gap to fill at 102.61. So maybe a continuance into stocks here as we trek down to the 20-day, which is right around 102.47. It's about 40 cents from where we are. So this is definitely a good backdrop for stocks. Again, dollar going down is important. That's what we want. Let's go to 10-year Treasury yields. We do have GDP tomorrow, so this might move it. Looking forward here to what's the resistance, 43.69, the 100. We're right at the 200-day. Let's see if we can tag 4% and come back down as we continue down to this gap fill here at 31.43. S&P 500, I mean, what more can you say? Just a complete breakout, complete sword job, 5,000 possibly incoming. You know, how much higher can we go? That's really the question everyone's asking. Well, how much more until, you know, we get some kind of pullback? We are now into overbought territory. So we talked about this many times. December, you can see how overbought we were. We pulled back, and then we had the Grinchmas. July, if you remember that video, we talked about how the dollar was going to bounce, and we're going to get some weakness into October. We're starting to get a little stretch now. Tesla reports after the bell. So does these premiums reset? Do we get a pullback of some kind? Let's wait and see. But as of right now, the market is trading like it has no ceilings, because it doesn't at all-time highs. We don't know what resistance is. Let's go to the daily on Nasdaq futures, 74. Again, we're starting to get there again, just overcooked, overbought. So, you know, we can ride this wave as we go along, but again, it's not going to last forever. It just doesn't. And it's expected. The question is when, the timing. That's what we're looking for. And that's probably the hardest thing about this job is the timing. All right, questions here. Amazon broke its alert, it looks like, getting back into DraftKings. What do you think about PayPal? All right, let's rock and roll. Let's start with Amazon. Did Amazon break my alert? No, I have 158.14, so that hasn't broken yet. Once it does, then yes, we can start taking a look at that gap fill here at 163.66. I believe it has earnings next week, if not the week after. So we'll keep an eye on the volume as we go, but let me get that break first. DraftKings. Yep, this is the name we've been waiting for. We have not broken our alert yet of 39.85. Once we do, that's when we get the breakout. We'll target 42. Again, we'll ride that wave. Maybe we can buy some of the March calls or something like that. I still have a runner on DraftKings for March 15th, but 42.02 would be the target, but we have not broken yet. PayPal reports next week, so be careful. We did see some earnings out there, some high volume out there. We are not trading at 65.96. Hasn't broken my 66.19 alert yet. We have a gap to fill at 72, but again, we have earnings next week, so those premiums might be a little juiced. We'll see what we get. We're going to keep an eye on everything as we go. So out of all of those three, Amazon, PayPal, DraftKings, none of them have broken the alerts. The one I'm more excited for will probably be DraftKings. Definitely. That's the one I'd be like, yeah, I really want to keep an eye on. Apple, we need to keep an eye on today. 195.75. There's no earnings exposure coming up next week or anything like that. So I'm looking to get into the 192.50s, possibly the 200s for next week. Buy some time and see if we can ride this melt up. Which level do you expect to bounce on VIX? Or your expectations for GDP tomorrow? GDP tomorrow, if the GDP is low, the market might cheer it because it shows that the economy is slowing, and then it gives us justification for rate cuts. If it's too strong, too fast, then it's going to be, if it's gangbusters and really is higher than expected, then the market might be a little spooked. Good news becomes bad news, maybe. Again, it's just all the reaction. The low point I have here on VIX is 1154. So again, the GDP is all about reaction, just like earnings. What do I think will happen? Since we are overbought, depending on what happens today, if we fall today and we reset some premiums, GDP comes in good, then we'll probably continue higher. If we are up 500 points today and GDP is good, we'll probably pull back. Again, it's all about the justification of the news. So 1154, that's the lows that we had back in 2019, right before COVID. That's a zone of 1154. I just don't foresee it staying here this long. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of headline that will change something, that will cause something to spike. Maria's asking, hello, what would you use to sell an Netflix option at the open, market, limit, or trail stop? I put it at limit, at the number that you want. On TOS, if you put limit, it'll give you the midpoint. So if you wanted to sell, it'll just find the best price. Depending on what option you have. Is it for Friday expiry? Or is it for next week? What's the strike? Is it 600? Is the strike 540? Is it in the money? So let me know. Maria, Roblox from Thomas. All right, Roblox. We need to get this break above here at 46.97. We ain't there yet. I have an alert at 50. So I'm going to move it down to 46. I would say 47. 46.98. If that breaks, then we could target 53 with calls, and we also have a gap to fill here at 66. So I would definitely be waiting for, if you were looking to add more, around 53. In order to trade it, I would say 46.98. Let's see it. 4 months, 490s. Oh, it expires in 4 months. Yeah, if that's the case, definitely don't do market. Let the market churn for about a couple of minutes. If you want to sell, just put limit, and it'll give you the midpoint, and you'll get a good price. What are we doing with AMD? All right, back to AMD. Since we did have a actual price upgrade, literally from this, let's see here. Let me get that AMD headline here. Here we go. AMD price upgrade right after the bell. Pretty much impeccable timing. Look at that. Right at 4:59 p.m. And that's where we got this move. Netflix doesn't really affect AMD, chip maker and a movie streamer, so not really anything here. But we did break 170, and that's kind of the issue right there. We're still overbought on AMD. Again, I want to see at the open because Palantir, which I have options on, soared pre-market yesterday. And then look what happened right at the open. So again, let's see what AMD does at the open and go from there. But that's just unfortunate that we were just 3 hours too early. If we would have opened the option right around 3:30 or so, we would have caught this move down, but we entered in the morning. So we were about 5 hours too early, unfortunately. And we got the target. Well, it got back to where we were in a sense, pretty much a round trip. And then it used that as support. So this is bullish price action on AMD. The problem is how much more? Once he starts breaking 177, you're at all-time highs again, intraday highs. So again, I want to see the open. That's going to be key because Palantir did the same yesterday. Palantir is bouncing back. I fully expect us to get above 1807, held 1714 support, and we should be able to catch that. Good morning, Zoom Balloon. Hey, Goldman Sachs. Yep. Yeah, I went ahead and broke down all the scenarios for everybody. It is up pre-market. There is a gap to fill here on the hourly at 385.81. If the market does soar, it will take Goldman Sachs with it. Worst case scenario, we're just going to chop around. And that's unfortunate because we had the break. We were up 30%. I was trying to squeeze as much as I could out of this, and then it just reversed. So again, wait and see approach. Not much to report here as it's only up about $1.91 or $1.20 at the moment. We need a little more. So again, if we do soar like we are seeing right now on the future side, let's see if Goldman Sachs gets a little love out of it. Apple. Is Apple overbought? Momentum studies, RSI. We are not overbought on the hourly yet. We are not overbought on the daily. No, we got a little more room to go. Yeah, so 199.62 seems to be that target, especially if Tesla beats, because then that might help all of tech. So Apple is definitely on the radar. It needs to break 195.75. Intel looking for the gap fill. Yeah, right here at 49.75. It's right below it. I have an alert at 52.55 for continuation. Nice trend line too. Nice break. You can use 46.85 as your support moving forward if you target 52. But we'll keep an eye on the options market. Not all chip manufacturers doing well. Texas Instruments pulled back this morning. After earnings, you could see 175 as well as down as 166. It's bounced to 170. So getting a little love from that AMD and that Intels of the world. Semiconductors really, really tough now. They just take anything in their face and just continue to find bids. That's a bull market for you. Negative news be damned. Price upgrades everywhere. Not a bad thing if you're a shareholder, but if you're a put holder like me, not the best. Just sucks that we were just a little early. Where would I like it to be? You talking about NVIDIA to buy more? Definitely not right now. And I made the analogy to our masterclass. I said, hey, you can like a Rolex Submariner, but I'm not paying 30 grand for stainless steel. You can like something, but hey, you just want a better price, right? 505. If we can get back to 505 and retest there, that would be the place to buy. Remember that was the hard resistance for a minute? 500. Oh, we're ever going to break 500? We get back down there, we can take a look. Meta is going for that 1 trillion market cap. That's right. Remember when everyone hated Facebook? Metaverse? How things have changed. Let's see on Tesla. Trend line. We built this on the radio. Still below the 100-day moving average. You can see kind of that resistance so far. 100 MA on the 1 hour, Still there. So you got really two options here when it comes to Tesla. You have the downward trend. Do we continue like I expected to 200? All I want is a retest around this zone here, which is the October lows. Below major moving averages, all of that. The question is, do we continue? And we go ahead and get bought up here, which is completely feasible. You can get one tick here to 196 on aftermarket, after earnings, and then bounce. I've seen that before, especially in Tesla. I've seen that on Amazon, Netflix, all the mega caps. Or you can get that push higher to 220, and then it just pulls back. So right now, obviously, I think we still go lower, but how much is baked in? How much bad news is priced in here, right? That's kind of the issue. So let's take a look at the RSI. We are oversold. But hey, AMD was overbought, and it didn't matter. Tesla is up this morning, obviously, due to their change, due to the new vehicles that they're planning, new models for 2025. So again, I went ahead and put that headline there. So again, it is overbought. We should bounce. Obviously, technically speaking, we should. We are getting a bounce today. So again, we may not be overbought, oversold this morning. Again, that remains to be seen. We'll see the relative strength indicator when we open. But I do have puts. I still think we get to 200. Could be wrong. But we will wait and see. All depends on today. I'm really looking at Apple this morning. See if we can get a chance at it. See if we can catch Palantir today. AMD, hopefully we get a pullback. But that's tough. That's a tough endeavor here when the markets continue to go higher and Goldman Sachs is just chopping around. But it is green this morning. Pre-market anyways. So that is what we got this morning, team. Yeah, I kind of hate these kind of days, these Wednesdays when we haven't had that opening winner for the week to really get everyone, get that juice flowing. Right now, it's just been a lot of waiting. Yesterday was pretty much just a wait and see approach. It was just choppy. Now we got Netflix coming in. Now there's earnings. Now a lot of bulls are saying, see, earnings were fine. Earnings were fine. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say this is a bad thing. This is fine. I mean, yeah, if the market wants to go up, guys, we'll ride the wave. No problem. But the insatiable bid, that's kind of where we are. The bull just keeps roaring. Right? We went 2 days in a row now of all-time highs. If we hold here, we'll probably be at 3. And like I said months ago, the pain trade is higher. But how long? That's the question. It doesn't go up to the sky forever. So we got to see Tesla being the weakest one among the Magnificent Seven or what have you. If their earnings are strong and that bounces, well then, RIP puts, RIP bears, because then you're really going to get a push. Because that's the one stock everyone has been kind of concerned with in terms of timing, in terms of price action lately. It's been absolutely just beaten to hell, down like 20% or about 18% from the peak this year. Thoughts on PFE? It broke downtrend. Let's see it. Yeah, well, it just bounced. That was, I don't know about downtrend. If you want to take a little bit of a stab on buying the stock, it does pay. Obviously, it's one of the top 10 stocks of 2024, and it's holding up. We're basically just holding up for the COVID lows. Imagine that, 26.48. Things get oversold, just like we talk about. I think they have earnings next week or in 2 weeks, so let's see their guidance and see if they justify this move. How's that? All right, guys, we'll go ahead and leave it there. I think everyone has their questions answered. That's good. All right, so we'll see what we get this morning. Not ideal with AMD. So far, so good with Palantir. I wish I would have sent Netflix. I talked about that on the radio yesterday, and ROKU. It's just one of those things. We just have to keep balance. It is only Wednesday. We'll see what we get. Another week dawns upon us. Another day dawns, and we just got to keep it moving. That's really it. There's always opportunity out there. I see Apple as a possible opportunity. Tesla earnings are going to be big, so I'll talk about that after the bell. Once we get it, we'll put it on the Discord server as always. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you guys tomorrow for the next morning note, and I will catch premium signal members, and masterclass students on the radio. We're going to go over what we're watching, the opening bell, and see what changes. See you guys then. Cheers all.